this country is at war with Germany.
We had to do a job, and we did the job, and that was it.
The men had to go and fight, and the women had to take their place.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
Hello and welcome back to Foxhole Chat. This week we're starting a new series. We're going to be looking at the Normandy beaches, what happened there, where they are in relation to the Normandy coast, and what there is to see and do there. So a bit of all sorts. So first up, we're starting with Utah. So just picture you've got off the boat at Cherbourg. The first beach you're going to hit is Utah.
Well, I did.
We tend to get the Channel Tunnel and end up at the other end.
So
I don't like boats. Anyway, so airborne forces would have landed midnight on the 6th of June 1944. They would have landed further inland, and then H hour for the beach landings was 6:30 in the morning. So the airborne landings were predominantly 82nd and 101st US Airborne Divisions. And then the beach was predominantly, again, the 4th US Infantry. So, and they were up against the troops of the 709th Infantry Division, the 91st Air Landing Division of the German Army. So basically the objectives of the Allies, there was only certain ways off the beach because the Germans had flooded the land at the back, all the fields and everything. So the US airborne forces would have landed early in the morning to take control of various causeways and buildings and bits and pieces inland, as well as key roads, bridges. And then the troops landing on the beach would start the other end of those causeways, and they'd meet in the middle and join up. So midnight on 6th of June, 1st Airborne Pathfinders, the 101st Division, landed by parachute and quickly set up beacons to guide the main body of airborne troops. 4 minutes later, the main body of the US Air Force, US Airborne Division, began landing by parachutes and gliders several miles behind the beaches. Many of the airborne troops were widely scattered and will take hours to regroup. Some of the paratroopers actually dropped in the flooded areas and subsequently drowned. So 2 a.m, the main forces of the 82nd Airborne were landing. They landed in and around the town of St. Mary Glees, which was a key objective for the Utah Beach crew. So at 3:35, heavy bombers of the RAF would attack. I suppose it would have been US Air Force as well. I'm not sure about their routings, whether they'd have stuck to their beaches or not. They attacked the German coastal gun batteries near Utah. Their aim was to disable the batteries so they couldn't fire upon the troops who were landing on the beaches in a few hours' time. Just gone 4 o'clock, landing ships miles off the shore began lowering the landing crafts that will take the assault infantry to the beach. Many troops climbed down the side of the cargo nets on the ship to get into the landing craft. By 4:35, the first wave of landing craft were heading for the beaches. An hour later, the Allied warships began firing their guns against the German defences. There are exchanges between fire of the several warships and German coastal guns. So 6 o'clock comes, the support landing craft begin firing their guns and rockets against German defences along the beach. 6:30, the 1st US troops, the 8th Regimental Combat Team, come ashore on schedule, but land at least 1,500 yards to the south of their intended sector. Fortunately for this area, it is more likely defended than the original objective. Shortly afterwards, most of the DD tanks land successfully, though later than originally planned. But at least most of them made it.
Yeah, with that fact, I found that fact as well, or I've known about that fact that they were off by, like you said, 1,500 yards. But a cool part of that fact is that and some people might recognize his name, Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt Jr. He landed on this section of Utah Beach, and when he was told, "Oh, we've not landed where we're supposed to have landed," he said, and I quote, and this is an amazing quote, he said, "We'll start the war from right here." And I think, that's an amazing quote, and it sums up the stoicism of the day. That it doesn't matter, we're off course. Let's just carry on with it anyway, and we'll start from right here. And he's actually buried. Unfortunately, he died of a heart attack. I don't know if it was during the war or just after the war. I can't remember the dates.
It's during, I think.
Oh, was it during?
It was actually, yeah. It was. I'm sure it was like a few days after D-Day.
Oh God, I mean that's.
So I think that was the shock.
It's got, yeah.
Possibly well done. Have done it.
Yeah, he was a bit older at this point as well. But yeah, died of a heart attack, and he's actually buried in the Normandy American Cemetery.
Yeah, there's a couple of Roosevelts, isn't there, at Normandy Cemetery, I believe.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Are they next to each other? Are they very next to each other from what I can remember?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at me remembering.
Yep, so 8 o'clock comes, and as you said, Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt orders in follow-up troops. He decides to continue at the new landing site rather than reverting to the original one. US engineers are clearing the beach obstacles so that a follow-up landing craft can get to the beach more safely. Between 9 and 10 in the morning, US troops begin moving off the beach along 2 of the 4 causeways. Meanwhile, further inland, German forces fiercely counteracting the positions held by the US airborne troops. Between 11 and 12, US troops are advancing further inland. There is still some German resistance and artillery fire. Some Americans wade through the flooded areas in order to reach their objectives. US troops advance off the beach and link up with the 101st. They spend the afternoon and early evening scuffling with the Germans and getting their objectives.
Yeah.
Between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night, the final US airborne troops arrive by glider to reinforce the 82nd. And then by midnight that day, after being scattered during their landings, only 2,500 of the 6,600 US airborne troops have so far regrouped. Troops who landed on the beach have reached the 101st, but have not yet fully linked up with the 82nd, who landed further west. And then the total casualty figures for D-Day were not recorded at the time and are difficult to confirm nowadays.
Yeah.
But in the airborne landings, 2,499 men became casualties, including 238 killed. Of the troops landing on the beaches, 589 were casualties and 197 were killed. But at Utah, there was also 235 naval, 340 Air Force casualties, and the German losses were unknown.
Yeah.
So in some respects, Utah is one of those that it's always classed as one of the least fortified beaches, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the better out of the two American beaches.
Yeah, that's always been the narrative, hasn't it? And I think that's looking at it from a very just a statistical point of view. But you got to remember, a casualty is a casualty. That's a family affected. That's a brother lost, a father lost, a son lost. That's that's the thing with this type of topic, isn't it? You know, we can get into the numbers, and sometimes we enjoy the numbers, but you've got to put it into context sometimes. And speaking of putting it into context, kind of rewinding back to talking about the airborne forces, I have a gripe, not with the airborne forces, but with a particular RAF commander, and some of you will groan when I say his name, Lee Mallory. Now he took over after Hugh Dowding had kind of retired. He got through the Battle of Britain and he was worn out. I don't blame him. But Lee Mallory takes over, and he actually wanted to scrap the airborne part of D-Day. He was having a big panic on because he'd heard that it was in the 91st Glider Brigade, or German, the 91st Infantry German Division. They'd recently been moved up to Normandy, and he thought, "Oh no, that's too many German troops. We can't risk the airborne. Let's just scrap it. Let's just have the seaborne invasion." And obviously Eisenhower and Monty shut him down, rightfully so. They were being stoic, and he was being a bit of a whiny person, in my opinion. Because you think you can't have D-Day without the paratroopers, because like you were describing, it needs to be that joint effort of the seaborne invasion coming from this side, the paratroopers dealing with the rear troops and inland troops, and then all linking up to then push on further into France. And I mean, that's a massive what if Lee Mallory had been listened to and the airborne drops hadn't taken place. So I think it would have been a disaster. Personally, I think it would have been an absolute disaster. And then you're back to square one. It would have been like Dunkirk all over again. We've retreated. We've got to regroup. And yeah, so Lee Mallory has always been on my bad list for that one.
The Utah Beach, well, all the beaches are split into little sectors, and specific troops landed on their little sectors. So as far as I'm aware, Utah was split into three: Tear Green, Uncle Red, and Victor. And there's certainly plenty to see and do throughout the width of Utah Beach. There's plenty of monuments and memorials, basically on the seawall. There's Utah Beach Museum. That's got a is it a B-25, B-26?
B-26, yeah, B-26.
B-26.
Yeah.
As you do, just smack bang in the middle of the museum.
Yeah. I read it was like a purpose-built aircraft hangar for that one plane. Yeah.
Okay. If you want something to eat, there's the Roosevelt Cafe, which is just near the Utah Beach Museum. And if you go in there, it's got lots of signatures and militaria and stuff up on the walls.
I think
there's a little gift shop and stuff there as well.
I think I walked past it from what I can remember. Because Utah, for people that don't know, Utah was the first beach, the D-Day beach that I went to when I went a couple of years ago now. So it was my first experience of standing on a beach, and this was before I started all this. It was my affliction was on the up at this point, but it was really, really amazing to see, and very, very moving to stand on a D-Day beach. And yes, like we said before, some people say it's a lighter beach of casualty numbers, but me being stood there, I was thinking, this is a beach that was stormed during D-Day, and the significance of that, will never ever be forgotten. And yes, I did cry. I cried quite a bit, and I'll probably cry again if I go back, or when I go back, actually, because I am going to go back. But yeah, I was amazed at how many like different things are dotted about. You've got the Higgins boat as well there, haven't you? That was cool to stand in, and I kind of walked down it.
Yeah, they're a bit like the cemeteries for the First World War on like Passchendaele and the Somme. You turn a corner and there's one. So they were first aid posts, basically turned into cemeteries. So they're dotted everywhere. And again, the memorials in Normandy are the same. So D-Day wasn't just about the beaches.
No.
You see, you'd got the Battle of Normandy as well. So if you head further inland, you've got the Iron Mike and the 8th Air Force memorials as well.
Yeah, which is when they unveiled that, I know a few people, well, mainly James Holland, he was kind of questioning like why put the 8th Air Force up next to Iron Mike, because it's in the Lafayette area, isn't it, where the Iron Mike is? But I guess it's just for like a general memorial, isn't it? It's like, okay, yeah, the 8th Air Force might not have been super involved in that area, but there's already the Iron Mike there, which commemorates the 82nd and Jumping Jim Gavin. So maybe it was just the most appropriate place that they thought, rather than just somewhere random. Maybe, I don't know. It's a cool it's a cool monument with I believe it's like 4 to 4 statues of
something like that.
Yeah.
So around the outskirts of Utah Beach, you've also got the Richard Winters Leadership Memorial and the Easy Company Memorial.
Yeah.
Because of course, Band of Brothers were 101st Airborne, so they were heavily involved in the Utah Beach liberation.
Yeah. Those 2 places are amazing as well. I was lucky enough to visit them. I think I went to Breakout Manor first, and then Dick Winter's statue. And as I was stood at both, I listened to the Masters of the Air. I listened to the Band of Brothers theme tune. Sorry. And I'm as many people are, I'm big on Dick Winters and his leadership style, and what he meant to his men. And I try to. This might sound a bit weird, but I still look up to him, and I want a man like that who was revered so much and was so amazing. I try to be as much like him as possible every day. So those are 2 very, very special places.
A bit further inland, you've got Carentan, which was the crossroads town linking Utah and Omaha.
Yeah.
So a key town to be taken. Just on the outskirts of Carentan, you've got the D-Day experience in Dead Man's Corner.
Absolutely amazing museum. Absolutely top notch. I would highly recommend. And actually, jumping back to Utah Beach and the Utah Beach Museum. So I don't know if you know this, Katie, if you came across this during your research, but that museum was actually opened by a guy by the name Michael de Valaville. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but apologies for any French listeners. But he was the family of the people who own Breakout Manor, the farm that's there. And that farm is still owned by the de Valaville family today. And I think his name was Charles de Valaville. And he met Dick Winters a couple times, I think, when they did the Band of Brothers premiere, which was in front of Utah Beach in the Utah Beach Museum. And it was kind of he was actually wounded by an American soldier on D-Day who believed he was a German soldier pretending in civilian clothes to surrender. So Michael decided, after he recovered, obviously, he thought, I've got to do something. So he actually opened the museum, and the museum it's in a former German bunker, or part of it's in a former German bunker there on Utah Beach. So I thought that was an interesting fact.
You've also got the Liberty Road markers, which stretch from Normandy all the way to Bastogne, which basically shows the route. It marks every kilometre. There's 1,147 of them.
That's mental.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But the Utah Beach one is kilometre 0, so that would be your very first one.
Yes. It's I have a strange recollection that I think I took a picture of the Utah Beach sign, and then is it nearby there? I swear I've seen it. I swear I saw it from
quite possibly. Yeah. For those that haven't seen the picture will appear, but if you're just listening, they're basically like white pillars with red and blue, like the stars and the stripes, and the kilometres and stuff put on them.
Yeah. That
would be a road trip, wouldn't it? Finding all the Liberty Road markers.
If people want to donate, we can make that happen. Foxhole Chat, you join us every day in a different country. Yeah, no, that'd be amazing. Yeah, God, yeah. Maybe we'll do that one day. That'd be awesome.
That sounds good. So you've got even further inland. You've got Saint Mary Glees, Saint Marie de Mont, There's the Airborne Museum in St Mary Glees. There's the airship hangar, which is just outside of St Mary Glees. That's a big ass hangar for an airship. We've got Angoville Oplan for the Angels and Mercies. So for those that don't know, it was US Army medics Ken Moore and Robert Wright of the 101st Airborne set up an emergency first aid post inside the church. In total, they rescued 81 wounded American and German soldiers. There's the World War II Museum. That's what it's called. Just the World War II Museum.
Yeah. That's what it says on the tin, right?
Yeah, pretty much. There's various batteries, bunkers, tanks and stuff laying around. You've got Azaville battery and Crisbeck batteries are two of the prominent ones.
Yes, yeah. There's a bunker I noticed when I was walking around, just kind of behind Utah Beach. There's a bunker there. I just kind of walked around it. I didn't know if you could go in it, and I didn't want to go in it anyway. I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know. Just didn't sit right with me. You know, everybody's different. People might not have a problem with that. But yeah, there's loads and loads and loads to do. I mean, you know, I was only there a couple of days and I only just scratched the surface. You could spend weeks and weeks and weeks exploring not even just each bit, the stories that are attached to each, you know, monument, memorial, bunker, whatever, you know, vehicle. You could dive into it all, and that's why we love the subject, because it's such a, you know, a rabbit hole to dive down into.
Yeah. If you want to watch some films or some TV shows before you go to get a sense of Utah Beach, Band of Brothers obviously is a good one to start with, and The Longest Day.
I've never seen The Longest Day. I hold my hands up. I hold my hands up.
Shocking.
I know. Is it a good film?
Yeah, it's long.
I should hope so. It's The Longest Day.
It's a long film.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, no, it's really good. It's also, I think, the only World War II movie that's filmed actually in Normandy. All of it's filmed in Normandy, as far as I'm aware.
Even on the beaches?
As far as I'm aware.
That's really weird. So this must have been, because if people don't know, when Saving Private Ryan was being filmed, they couldn't use the beaches in Normandy because they were protected. I don't know if it was a historical or natural, you know, a ecological protection. But I guess The Longest Day was, when's it from? 50s, 60s?
Yeah. Late 50s, I think.
Okay. Oh, so maybe they were more lackadaisical back then. They were like, yeah, you know, just do what you want. But maybe now, when obviously Saving Private Ryan was 90s, so maybe, yeah, there was more like, oh, we've got to protect this. We can't have a film crew come in and, you know, blow things up again, you know. We went through it once. We don't want to go through it again. We've only just recovered.
And if you want to read a book about it, I can only find like general tour books. They'll have every single beach in, and just generic D-Day Normandy information books. If anybody does know a specific Utah Beach book, then do let us know.
Yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been, because I know I've got Max Hastings' book on Sword Beach.
Yeah, there's a couple on Sword.
Yeah.
There's loads on Omaha.
Obviously.
Yeah. Not sure about the others yet. Haven't looked at the other beaches yet.
Maybe who knows? Maybe one of you, if you do know, let us know. If we've missed something, let us know.
Yeah. That's all I've got.
Yeah, that's all I can think of for Utah. It's an amazing place. I don't know if it's the perfect place to start. I don't know if that's just my bias. You know, I think it depends on what you're after, doesn't it? Of, you know, if you want to visit the British beaches first, because, you know, you've got a tie there, you know, totally understand that. And if you're like, no, Omaha, it's the daddy, it's the big one, you know, I get that as well. But maybe if you want a bit more of a quiet one, I don't know. I guess it depends on what time of year you go as well, because I went in March. I went in March, so, you know, the weather was all right, but there wasn't loads of people there. But yeah, I do love Utah, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, so when we went for the 80th anniversary, Utah Beach was the only beach that was open on
Right.
D-Day.
Right.
All the others were shut off for ceremonies and
Of course.
bits and pieces. So literally the contents of Normandy drove to Utah Beach at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning,
Oh my
and then parked on
God.
these little tiny narrow
Jeez.
Normandy country roads to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, there was something happening. They would there was people doing like a beach assault.
Ah, cool.
So they went to watch that, and just to be on a beach at 6:30 in the morning, you know, that's the thing to do on D-Day morning. If you can get down to the beach, get down there early.
God. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the population of Normandy went to Utah Beach that morning.
Yeah, and a small
We
percentage
didn't.
of I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You saying that, part of me is like, like how cool, and like just to be able to say that you were stood on a D-Day beach that this at the same time when it happened. Like that's, I know you're there with several hundred, possibly thousand other people, but I think for me, for the subject, because it means so much to me, I think, yeah. But then I hate people and big crowds. Like that would be, I'd have to put my headphones on. I'd just be like, no, I'm in my own little world. There's no one else here. Yeah.
Wait, if they don't do the Frenchness and keep the beaches open and don't shut them, then the beaches are big enough for everybody to spread out on. Because we've done it on Gold Beach before.
Oh, right.
We've been down on Gold Beach at 7:30 in the morning. The time
Nice.
they would have landed
Nice.
on Gold.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we hope you've enjoyed the first look at the Normandy beaches there. Obviously, this is just one of a few, so stay tuned for more when we dive into the other American beach, Omaha, and the British and Canadian sector as well, which sometimes gets overlooked, unfortunately. But yeah, we hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram as well, so you can see some of the pictures of things that we've described on here. We put a photo pack up every week for more War Waffle goodness. So yes, thank you once again for joining us. We will catch you next week.